Hi viewers, welcome to Silent Conversations with Miss Nkatha. I am your host Nkatha Mwenda, and in this place, we talk about those conversations that will uplift, transform, heal. And today, it is such a great honor and pleasure to have a woman on set who is a trailblazer. We'll hear her story. She's a woman who's very resilient, and I believe her life story will inspire many. Welcome to the show, Lucy.
Thank you, Nkatha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lucy McCollum. I remember you as Lucy Wanja, as my line manager, as my supervisor. And before when we get there, just tell us a little about yourself. Who is Lucy?
Oh, Lucy's a mother. Lucy is joy. Lucy is bold. Lucy is a Christian. Lucy is a person that loves living, full of life. I know that it's easy to introduce myself with my career. Most people would like to introduce themselves as Lucy's a lawyer, Lucy's all the things that she's achieved in life.
Yeah.
I like introducing myself as all those things that are joy, beauty, and mother. I'm a mother of 4 wonderful adult children.
Wow.
And that's who I am, just joy and boldness. That's Lucy.
Viewers, Lucy was my first ever manager. I pursued her until I got a job straight from university.
Yes.
I remember the first time we met, it was an event. And when I had you introduce yourself, you said you're a marketing manager of a health company, and you talked about nutrition, and I had just graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in nutrition, and I said, that one? That's why I came for this event.
Yeah,
those are many years back.
Yeah, you were young. I looked at you, we were at this event, a family event.
Yes.
My friends had invited us, and the one thing I saw in you is drive. And you were I think the reason we hired you, and particularly I looked at you and I saw potential, and you didn't stop. Most other people apply for jobs, especially young people your age, apply for jobs, or parents speak to you because your auntie spoke to me. Yeah. But the family speaks to you, or someone who knows you speaks to a manager, and they wait. Young people just wait. Oh, I'll wait because my auntie knows so and so. I'll be hired. But you were persistent. Girl, you didn't let. You were calling me. You were coming to my office and you were begging me. And I said, if she can bag me like this, she might be able to perform. Yeah. So we got you. We hired you, and you didn't disappoint.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I remember those days. Now you've told me someone spoke to you. I didn't know. Maybe I kept knocking, because I thought I was out here on my own, but I'm so glad that you gave a chance. And I keep telling people that that first experience with you was not only a job, it was mentorship. When you say your love and all those things you've described yourself, that's what you brought, at the workplace, and it's really appreciated. Now, yes.
Let me correct this. Your auntie didn't just speak to me, you were qualified. No. You had nutrition, you were qualified, your college degree, but also you were a pilot. That also made me think, oh my God, we travel a lot. This company, we traveled a bit. And I know that one of the things we did was we needed someone who had qualifications, and we were building, the company was growing. We were traveling a lot within East Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. And one of the things we're thinking about is building a staff complement that would also hopefully get a plane that would take us places. And so I was creating a base of staff that would be able to. You were one of them, and you were a nutritionist. You train people, and you grew to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were qualified.
Thank you. Yeah, and then the rubber hit the road. We worked and worked. But along the way, I'm very, very open about the struggles I had with alcoholism. We call it an alcohol use disorder. And I remember in those days, my greatest fear was you finding out. But maybe you found out even as I was hiding and I was coming to work, maybe smelling of liquor and stuff like that. And I remember having a conversation with you the other day, and you were just saying how you knew a long time ago that I was struggling. You fought quite a number of battles because I would show up not at 100%. Can you just talk a little about that? Because I know there's someone here who is an employer. There's probably someone who's in the workplace, and they have an employee who's doing stellar work, who's committed, but then they have a flaw, and that flaw could be absenteeism because of alcohol. It could be a mental health condition. Just tell us a little what that experience was at that time, because you highlighted it recently.
Yeah, actually it all started with whispers in the office. Some of you were young, and the other staff members were young. And I remember one of them whispering, I got the whispers, and I started observing you, and I realized that I discovered you had a problem, and the job in of itself was a traveling job that exposed you to a lot of independence. And at the age, you were young, you were in your 20s.
Yes.
And impressionable.
Yeah.
And with a lot of responsibilities. We stayed in high-end hotels. You had access to bars. Yeah. You could sign anything. And I think I almost felt, as your supervisor, I almost felt responsible for allowing you to propel so quickly. And in a way, I confess, I may have felt some guilt because I pushed you too quickly up. But then also, I argued to myself, if I did not push you, who else was going to develop you? And I wanted you to grow because I knew there was potential, you had potential, and if I didn't do it, you were not going to grow. And so I knew it was my responsibility to, if not grow you, to protect you. As a mother, I saw it in other children around me. My children were about your age. At the time, in fact, I had older children. Yeah. And so I picked you up and I decided. I made a deliberate, intentional decision to use you as my protection project and grow you. Yeah. And that's how I did it. I had my seniors, my line managers, and we had meetings where they would sit down and ask me that I needed to either discipline you or get rid of you. Yeah. And I took it upon myself to say that if your work suffers, I would take it on. Yeah. And we worked. I worked it. Yes.
Yeah. And I'll confess today that the days I would be sober and not get carried away, I just kept thinking, I cannot let Lucy down. I cannot let
thank
Lucy.
you.
And at times, someone who's in a recovery journey, now I'm speaking to you, you have to do it for yourself. But then if you're in a state where you have to do it for someone else as you try to do it for yourself, why not? Because I was in that organization for some years. I think it was about 6-7 years. Even when you left for greener pastures abroad, I did stay on for about 3 more years. And then I resigned because this disease progressed, and it's kind of, I chose the drink over the career. And I'm just so happy that you've just opened up about that particular time. And what I thank God for is those are memories. They may not be so pleasant, but He's allowed me to heal. And maybe I'll even extend, an apology to you. It's too late, maybe, but I'm so sorry. If I would have done something different in the past, you are the last person I wanted to ever suffer, because I know how we were also under pressure. Just being,
that was a pressure job,
we were
wasn't
under
it?
Pressure. You know, the sales and marketing, because everyone envies the people in sales, and they make excuses and they say, oh my goodness, they're the ones spending the money, they're the ones traveling, not knowing there was a lot of work and maintaining relationships with these clients that we're meeting every day. So I have to say thank you for taking some bullets, and that we're here many years later and still communicate. It's just by the grace of God.
I tell you what, you say that the grace of God. Yeah. You remember we used to, my friend Christine,
yes,
we used to talk about God. We say, let's go to church. I was born again,
yes,
then, and we would preach to you, and you would laugh. You would, Nkatha, you need to settle. And you would laugh. You remember that word? And we'd talk about it in our mother tongue.
Yeah,
We'd say, settle. We would say that. And we would tell you, Nkatha, let's go to church. You would laugh and laugh and laugh. We had one event at KICC one time.
Yeah.
One day you went and disappeared. And it was a recognition. Yeah. Very huge event, like 6,000 people were coming, and you had all the recognition certificates. You were supposed to be having them and yes, whatever it was you're doing. Yes. And I was like on edge. I'm like, oh, my boss is asking, where are the trophies and the certificates? I said, Nkatha is bringing them. Where is she? It was just luck. We went and found them somewhere. You had left them. And then they're telling me, the boss is telling me, Nkatha cannot go on stage. Yeah. Nkatha cannot go. I said, she's going on stage. That's her job, and she's going on stage. Can you leave this situation in our hands? This is our East Africa, and we're taking care of this. I'm taking care of East Africa, and Nkatha is going on stage. Because if you did not go on stage that day, yes, you are losing your job. So you went on stage, and you did a stellar job. Yeah, you did a great job that day. You did. You were wearing a blue suit. I know that. You were wearing a beautiful blue suit, and you looked really good. And you did a great job that day. But after that, you went to sleep. Yeah. So we had a great time. Yeah. So when I left the company, one of my biggest concerns was how you were going to survive it. Yeah. And I know that I gave you the last project, and I was hoping that you would be able to develop from there. I took you with me to the US. I created that so you could be able to go to the meeting, the convention, the corporate meeting in the US. Yes, we traveled together, remember?
Yes.
On the same flight.
Yes, yes. We left, we did pass by Atlanta, where you were
settling, and then you went to California. You went to California for
5 days later, came back and found like you had been living in America all your life. You had this apartment. Yeah. Had you gotten a job already?
No, not yet. I took a sabbatical. I had a 1-year sabbatical because I'd saved a little bit. Yeah.
But you were settled, like that life was meant for you. Had you made prior arrangements, or was it just you?
I had friends that had helped me settle in. Yeah, and the kids had already started working, going to school. Yeah.
I think what I picked from this conversation of the past is empathy is also very important. I don't think you are enabling me really, but they could be borderline. There was an empathy. Mm-hmm. You were really concerned, and I've come to study what substance use disorders are, mm-hmm, and it is a progressive disease, so that at one point, even if it is interfering with your work or your family, you still continue using. So I think it got to a point of no return, and I had to leave the institution at one point, that organization. But it was a wonderful experience, and it was a wonderful experience. I think it didn't get tougher. It's just that I gave up. I took a bow earlier than I should. Yeah.
I wonder if there's something I could have done better.
I don't think so. Already your encouragement and the way you treated me, not in any negative way, was courage enough. Because most people in such situations are either dismissed with no explanation, or people will label you and not want to associate with you. That was not the case. Yeah. And today, with the Mental Health Act, and I'm talking about Kenya, there's provisions that if you notice someone is not okay, then instead of dismissal and all those things, then they can be able to get help. They can get help. In some institutions, they even offer 3 opportunities to go to rehab.
I'm glad.
Because after COVID, the world became aware that mental health is a serious issue.
It is.
Many people would brush it before, like, why can't you manage your drink? Maybe not wanting to understand, why is this person drinking? Why is this person who has a high-flying job doing this to themselves? But today there's more awareness. We're not yet there, but I believe such conversations do help as well. But it's the past, and we can only look back at it, not change it. But for me, those were stepping stones to who I am today, and I really do appreciate you greatly. Yeah. Now you're in America. You took a 1-year sabbatical. I can imagine sabbatical. You needed to map or to just know which direction your life will take.
Yes.
Then what happened? How was that? Relocating and you
was tough.
Yeah.
America was tough. Even though I went there, I didn't have a clear. For me to go to America wasn't like the usual, like I had a job. I didn't leave Kenya because I got a job in America. I didn't leave Kenya because I had a real plan. I got fed up. I was tired. You know that I had just gone through a divorce, a nasty divorce. I had 3 children, packed my bags, and Mother carried and her children carried her clothes and children and went to America.
Wow.
And the kids were going to school. The elders was going to university, and the others were going to school. So I just wanted to figure myself out. I tell people that I was going through midlife crisis. So I had my own crisis I was dealing with.
Yes.
And after a while, I had to do what everyone does when they get to America.
Yeah.
And from a high-end, high-flying position, I had to take care of the elderly. I had to take care of nanny. I became a nanny.
Really?
Yes. And I did odd jobs, but one of the things, and I tell everyone, is don't lose track of who you are, what you want to be. And I did a bit of study. I had started a master's program, online master's program in leadership and management when I was here. So I finished it while I was settling and getting myself. But it was a couple of tough years, very tough years. I finished the savings I had, and I went through a very tough financial times. And there was a moment where I wasn't communicating with anybody in Africa, in Kenya.
Yes.
Because, at that time you're like, hey, why did I come? You start wondering, oh my God, why did I? You almost want to pack your bags and come, but it's too late. You feel like it's too late. What am I going back to? I don't have a job. I don't have anything. So you
held on.
Yeah, you hold on.
Yeah.
And as I never gave up.
Yeah.
So I decided to work it out, and worked it out.
Yes.
And started my own skincare line.
Yes, you did.
I used the knowledge. Never experience is good. No experience is lost.
Yes.
Use the knowledge I picked up from the company we worked in, and created a skincare line. And my giving, while I was doing this work that I, trying to do any work, my giving also, I give a lot. So I started volunteering with the refugees. I used to volunteer here, SOS.
Yes, I remember.
So I continued to volunteer with refugees. And while I was doing that, opportunities continued to open.
Wow.
And the story is that I went back to school, studied law.
Wow. Okay.
And got myself a JD.
Yes.
And a lot more happened.
Wow. You have a skincare range. Can you tell us where is it available? Can we purchase it?
Yes and no. You can purchase it, but it's really exclusive.
Okay.
It's called My Skincare Secret, and you'd have to get in touch with me to be able to do that.
No, maybe someone is watching here and they're looking at your skin and saying, wow.
Oh, yes. The base is anti-aging.
Yes.
I am, next month, I'm going to be 63, so obviously it's working. Allah.
Only women who know. No, women don't tell their age.
No, I tell
But when
mine.
you know you're not looking your age,
I tell mine.
you throw it out with
tell mine.
confidence.
I tell
Yeah.
mine very comfortably.
So they can get you My Secret.
My
they can find
Skincare
you
Secret
Facebook, or
on
they can find you-
Facebook, on Instagram as My Skincare Secret.
Yes.
They can get me on, there's a number for it, 470 plus 1,
Yeah.
470-798-7849. WhatsApp, it's a WhatsApp
Just
number.
say it again, plus.
Plus 1,
Yes.
470-798-7849.
Yes. And it goes direct to WhatsApp.
Yeah, to WhatsApp, and someone will respond to them.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful, yeah.
And then my husband and I have a relationship. Oh, we'll talk about that, won't we?
Oh, yeah, because you said you were divorced.
Yes. I
Then
was
what
divorced.
happened?
Oh.
Yeah, no, we'll need to take a break. Let's take a break. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Then we can continue this conversation. I'm happy for you.
I did meet someone.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. Before we took a break, we heard what Lucy has been up to. She talked about going back to university. She talked about being a lawyer. She talked about so many things. You know, Lucy, you wear many hats. Tell us a little about your career. What are you doing?
So, like I said, after 50, I realized that I had worked so hard in my life, and I wanted to really I sat back and I thought, my passion, I'd done enough, I'd gotten experience, and I'd earned money. And I was at a point where I wanted to do something that had purpose in my life. And when I went back to school to do something, to study something that I would touch lives the way I always wanted. I always knew that I wanted to feel that when I go to my grave, because I'd lived more years than I would live hope. I knew that I would live less years now. I wanted to leave on my graveside something that would say she touched lives.
Okay.
And I went back to school to study, to look for something that I would do, I would be happy to be doing.
Yes.
And so now what I do is I'm an advocate for the underrepresented. And I seek any area where people are underrepresented, people that look like you and I.
And underrepresented
Yes.
is like who?
For instance.
Yeah.
So if you are in the, we live in the US, and if in human rights you are underrepresented, say in clinical research, which is something I studied law, clinical research, I seek areas in which people are not represented properly or underrepresented, we're not. And I present myself, we look for organizations that we can step in and lift lives, refugees,
Yes.
immigration, anywhere that we can be able to step in and lift other people's lives.
Okay.
Relationships where people are underrepresented, women and children, orphans.
Yes.
Recently, with you,
Yes.
we support the cause that you take, you work in, women and orphans here in Kenya, so that they're underrepresented. So anywhere we can play a role with my husband, we work together and use our skills that we've earned over the years. 50 years is a long time to gather all those skills and have them wasted. So that's what we do. That's what I do, and loving it. And I love it because I can do it with my partner for life, who I met.
Yes. Yeah, because you said you were divorced. Now you say husband.
Yes.
You know, tell us.
I love life.
Yes.
And I love not just life, I love love. I have always told people that if there was a kingdom somewhere, and I think there is one, the Jesus kingdom, the kingdom of love, I am the love ambassador. That's a title I have given myself, and I believe legitimately I've been given, that I am the love ambassador. So I spread love. So I fell in love in my mid-50s, and I met my silver fox, and I think Now I'm blushing.
Is it this one?
This is my silver fox. This is my silver fox, Nkatha.
Wow. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I've been wondering who's this sitting here in the middle of these women. You called him Silver Fox. Is
Yes.
that a... Oh. Tell us more. Who is the Silver Fox? Introduce yourself.
My name is Nebraska.
Yes.
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and I migrated to Atlanta, Georgia, where I met Lucy,
Okay.
and went there to go to school and just decided I was going to stay.
Yes.
And in my matriculation of work and life, I met her and relationship, and
Yes.
here we are.
Wow. And what is exciting, and I like this story, love in your 50s. You're very open with your age, and then you fell in love. Where did the two of you meet?
We met in Atlanta believe it or not, from a online dating site, believe it or
Yes.
not.
Online?
And yes, and I think we both were similar. We were looking for something midlife. I was recently divorced as well.
Yes.
And was looking to start a part 2 of my life, as she mentioned.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And once we met, I think we were both sincerely looking for a life partner. And from there, relationship developed and love blossomed, and we got married.
I have so many questions. You said online, and when I think of online, there's one that just came to my mind very quickly, and it starts with a T. We won't mention it here.
Oh, no.
And people ask, does online work really? And you connected. Then how soon did you have a physical meet? Or how did that
I believe when we
relationship pan
first
out?
initially met online, I was out of town at the time. I was on a national sales team, and I was traveling. And I believe I was in Kansas, out west somewhere. And we met online, and then we started a conversation. You start texting, emailing, and then you had a conversation. And that conversation pretty much took all night. I didn't get any sleep that night. Went to work the next day, exhausted but excited, because I was really excited from the phone call, the conversation, the communication. And I went, wow, this is someone that seems very interesting. I would like to get to know better.
You've answered my question, because I wanted to know what stood out with Lucy.
Your comment about online dating, I was apprehensive about it at first.
Yeah.
But then I looked at it from a different perspective as just a means of being able to meet more people. And that's pretty much what it served. And in doing that, you get better at the process. And from that communication, knowing what I wanted,
Yes.
and listening to the correspondence we had, I was like, this seems to be someone that's really interesting. We had a lot of things in common in terms of we were both looking for a long-term relationship. And it just really wasn't any games to be played. That time of all night talking was really substantial building to get to know this person.
Wow.
And for them to get to know you.
And what about you?
So for me, it was a little different. As an African woman, and we our culture isn't one that was even at that time very welcoming to online dating.
Yes.
We have a lot of misgivings. Like, you almost think are you that desperate? And you almost want to hush that you're going to meet someone online. Kwani, are you so desperate?
Yes.
But I had gone online anyway. I was bold enough to have gone online, but I had met so many people, and like I tell everyone, I'd kissed too many frogs, and I was fed up.
Okay.
I was completely fed up of all this, meeting so many people, and it was such a mess. I was tired. Lies and the wrong people.
Yes.
And I had to take a 2-year step away. And I said, listen, I'm not doing this thing. I must be doing something wrong. And I'm too old for this nonsense. Either God wants me to have someone or he doesn't. So let me step back and rethink this whole thing, rethink this process.
Yes.
I must be doing something wrong. And I stepped back for 2 years. And the 2 years, I realized I needed help.
Okay.
And I sought help. And I paid for help. I paid a dating coach.
Oh.
I invested. And the reason I did that is I think my life is very important. And if I really wanted someone seriously, and I really wanted to have a life that was good for myself.
Yes.
And it is important. My life is very important.
This dating coach, is this someone you knew personally,
No.
or you met online as
Was
well?
recommended to me. I looked, I
Okay.
researched, was recommended by someone who had used a dating coach, and I trusted. And so I was introduced to her, and I paid them. It's trust, really. You have to jump in there. You have to really, I think you have to take a risk.
What did you learn?
And they taught me a few things, and just a few, just to give you a hint. One of the approaches, especially people go to, is the I don't want. The approach of I don't want. I don't want a man. One of them was, I said, I don't want a man who doesn't have children. Let's begin from there.
Yes.
Who doesn't have children? Because why? She asked me. I said, because they were not like my children. But she said, listen, the I don't want is negative already.
Yes.
Start with, I want a man who will like my children. How about that? Change that. It's the same thing, but
Yeah,
I want a man who will like my
it's
children.
positive.
Nebraska did not have his own biological children when I met him. But I changed the narrative, and all that changed because when I said, I want a man who will like my children, Nebraska loves my children now.
Wow.
He really loves my children. Sometimes I even get confused. And then I also had the narrative of, I'm an academic snob. I said, I don't want a man without a college degree. Nebraska had gone to college, but because of situations, he hadn't finished his final exams and didn't finish his college. So she asked me, why don't you want a man without a college degree? I said, because I want someone who I can have conversations with, who I can have intellectual stimulations. I get turned on by intellectual stimulation. And so that's the reason. It's not because of the paper, not seeing PhD at the end of his name. I said, no, that's not my problem. My problem is my brain, I get stimulated by that. And she said, okay, let's change that. Let's say, I want a man I can have good conversation with, someone who stimulates my brain. And if you heard what Nebraska just said, he said that we talked the whole night.
Yeah.
He stimulated me. It's not that we talked about his degree.
No.
We didn't talk about it. I didn't ask you whether
But
you
you would have cut him off.
Exactly.
Because of the mentality.
Exactly.
Oh.
So that changed too. I mean, he has now, he went back, he finished his things, and he has a psychology degrees and all. But those are the things I would like to ask, especially the women, even men, to look at and sit back. And if life is that important to you, a partner is that important to you, take it as importantly. We go to school to study to get degrees. Why can't we sit down and go to school and take life that seriously?
Wow.
I took that life very, very seriously.
Yes.
And so that's where I am.
Nebraska, tell us, now you've met Lucy and you're doing life together. Is it what you always envisioned?
Part of what we experienced and been exposed to with others is what led us into the concept of having our company as a relationship coach, trying to help elderly couples, which I guess 50 and above, to matriculate through the maze of finding someone and or improving their prior relationships, their current relationships, excuse me, as I should say, because relationships have changed, they've evolved, like our society has evolved. And with that brings upon certain challenges that traditionally they didn't maybe experience or face in their 20s and 30s. Now they are influencing them in their later years. And as she got a relationship coach and saw how that helped her, we thought we could be of help to others to improve that dynamic.
Wow. So what I'm picking here is that you are in business together.
Yes.
Feeling or preparing to begin a relationship, especially if you're about 40, above.
Yeah.
And which is good, because many people, they hit 40 and they say, if I've not found love, I'm too old. Then you talked about culture. In African culture, many people are thinking, why are you getting married in your 40s? Really? why are you getting married in your 50s?
What do you mean? Hey.
Many people are of that mindset. What can you tell them? Because they're watching. Someone was like, oh, I can't get married, it's too late. If I did get married in my 20s or my 30s, in fact, that is a big deal. How you know? You've not seen that? Oh no, you're American.
No, I'm not. I have friends. I have friends who I went to college with who get so like they're always laughing and say, Lucy, you are so courageous. You got married. I mean, did you die? Nothing. You haven't died just because you're. Don't you want a partner? Don't you get lonely? Don't you want someone to be with you? I think everybody love doesn't. Your heart doesn't stop wanting to have someone to be loved. But we all want to be loved.
There's quite some stigma around settling in your later years. Mm-hmm. Do you experience that in your coaching? What kind of clients are you getting?
I think,
what are they coming and presenting?
I think what you're alluding to is odds of having the experiences of life versus the traditional views of how we look at life. Mm-hmm. When you say, oh, I'm 40, and you question the possibilities or the reality of finding someone. And that's what we're trying to help them successfully navigate is, yes, why not? Right now is the best time in life because we can't go back.
Yes, we can.
And forward is the future. So we are trying to helping them to understand the nuances of today, coupled with the traditional limitations that we put upon ourselves that limit us from finding relationship success.
Wonderful. And I mean, you're a living example as you seated here as a couple, now offering that service to those who are interested. There's this question that just popped into my mind in relation to, I wanted to ask.
Even you can find love. Is that what you want?
No. I was just thinking about, do you teach them on red flags? You know, because we're reading about online love or all these dating sites. But then there've been quite a number of cases, 1, 2 you hear here, then that even have turned fatal. Or people are just going into online to take advantage of each other. How are you advising those who approach you?
That's why
to protect themselves.
The early communication, I look at it from an interviewing standpoint of if you're really getting into someone. I developed a process with a niece in terms of you asking the right questions and getting people to talk about themselves, and they pretty much tell you who and what they are if you articulate to listen for what they are saying and or what they're not saying. The problem with the early phase of relationships we found out with communication is people are so hopeful for what they want that they're not paying attention to what's being stated or what's being presented to them. So to get them to really focus on that, initially to pull back the emotional, hopeful, and look at the interviewing process is just that, is a fact finding. Who is this person? There may be some obviously physical attraction, but that has to be developed and processed with the compatibility of who they are, what they want versus what they want, so that they can have some mutual success.
I remember when like I said, I kissed so many frogs in the initial part before I had my coach, my dating coach. I would go online, I meet someone, and just because I liked them and we started talking and I liked them, first of all, my profile said everything I wanted. So they came knowing this is what she wants. So they said the things, they presented themselves as, they offered everything I wanted.
Because they
knew what I wanted. Yes. And any person can do that because they know what I want. Already I've said it, I've presented it there. And any con man can do that because they know what their end game is. And then I think I found the right person. I haven't found the right person because they've just presented, that's their representative. And when the real person comes, it's too late because I've invested my emotions in it. And then I'm talking about being hurt. But I wasn't hurt because that wasn't the person. They were not hurting me because they were just going for their goal. They achieved what they wanted, but that's not what I wanted. And we need to be, like Nebraska says, we need to be more, pace ourselves also, especially as women. Men are different.
Yes.
We invest too early in the relationship. We invest too much of our emotions into relationship. We need to take our time, learn the person, spend more time and emotionally invested first, and take pace ourselves.
Yeah.
This life is not a sprint; it's a marathon, and let's give a bit of that.
I feel like that's very important because can we call them boundaries as well?
Yes.
Because many people are quick to say, I'm too invested. Even if I know he probably doesn't love me or doesn't like me or is like this, you're still willing to continue with this relationship, and it becomes...
Know when to quit.
Yeah.
Know also when to quit. Even if you've invested, also know when to quit. If it's not working for you, and if this thing is not on the finger, stop.
Yeah.
And leave.
How long have you been in this business together?
This is our, let me see, this is our third year.
Oh,
Yeah, in the business together.
in the business.
But we've been pretty much doing it anyway, unofficially.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many years have you been married?
7 years.
Wow. 7 years, the year of completion. Of abundance. And so if someone is really looking for that coach and they've heard that you offer that service, where can they find you?
You want to say?
And how do you conduct these sessions? Is it 10 sessions? Is it 5 sessions? Or you do an assessment first and then you come up with a specialized plan for them? Just look into this.
Where? This camera. So we have special, we look at the person, we call a discovery session. So it's every person is unique. Every individual is very unique. We don't have cookie cutter. So we talk to you, we see your need, we assess your need, and then we create a program for you. And we can do it virtually, we can do on a one-on-one. So it really depends on you and your need. And the time too depends. Some people have deep needs, some people have just quick. So it all depends. And you can get in touch with us. We will, on the video, we'll put our details.
Yes.
And so we don't have to speak to them loudly now, but we'll put the details on the video. On this video, we'll put the details. You can reach us, and we can be able to give you, each and every one of you, you can reach out to us and we can tell you everything.
Wow.
One of the things I'd like to add to that is that we offer that services not only for individuals in the infancy of starting a relationship, but those that are even in relationships.
Yeah.
Because what we're finding out is relationships have evolved at such a rate that it's adding complexity to them being able to, once they find each other, can they stay together? Can they build that for the marriage, and or if they're in a marriage, sustain that into successful happiness. So that's why it's challenging to say when we get in contact with us, we have to assess where they are and what they want, because what we find out is that we're in a stage where divorce now is at an all-time high rate. And once couples are together and experiencing some type of difficulties, the earlier they can get with someone that can help them individually and collectively, it can help save their
Yeah, because divorce is not easy. You know,
And we have
with so many emotional challenges, financial implications.
children suffer.
The children suffer. And so viewers, if you're listening to us today, what we are hearing from the McCollums is that seek for help. Seek for help. Relationship, you're a psychologist, you studied that, and you're able to use that knowledge to guide couples to keep or maintain a relationship, and also work with those who are looking to find new love, and age should never be a barrier. I mean, she's testament. I like the way you're very bold and you say, I found love at 56.
Oh, yeah.
And you're 63 now.
Yeah.
Not looking any close to that age, but flourishing and happy next to your silver
Fox.
Ooh. Oh, and we're doing this here in Kenya, which is in Africa. And what are you doing in Africa? Tell us.
Nebraska, what are you doing here?
This
Is
is
this your
my
first
this is
time?
my first trip to Africa. Obviously, in marrying someone from Kenya, that was a collective goal in terms of experiencing her country.
Yes.
And while we were here, I've been able to see some.
Yes.
I tell people I've seen enough to be interested, but not enough to know that. I mean, enough to know I will come back.
Wow. Wow.
Very interesting country. Had a great time.
Yes.
And while we were here, we were able to do a speaking engagement on Valentine's Day.
Please tell them it was wonderful.
Yeah, we had a good attendance. On Valentine's Day, we had people 40 plus. They came. It wasn't it was a real transformation experience. People came in and they were able to engage with us, and we shared our journey.
Yes.
And they asked questions, and we were able to talk about how we can be able to look and ask the right questions and get in their relationships, enjoy the beauty of love.
Yes.
And blossom within their own relationships, and also seek. And some of them, I think someone actually met somebody there.
Oh.
Yeah.
What I picked from that conversations that you had that night was it's also very important to be real.
Yes.
You have to be authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah, and in that way, then you can meet that one who you've always desired, and then you can live a real life, because many people are faking it. In Kenya, where have you been able to visit?
I had a chance to go to Mombasa,
Yes.
went to a couple safaris.
Yes.
So I've been able, every day has been,
Yuki?
Aha.
excuse me, every day has
Naivasha?
been jam-packed with activity, you know.
Yes.
I think I've repacked and packed 6 or 7 times while I was here. So it's been very, you know, you tried to get a lot in,
Yes.
but it's such a unique, beautiful country that, you know, 2 weeks didn't do it justice by any means.
Yeah, so you had it. Kenya is magical.
Yes, it is.
And like he's saying,
And I am magical. He met a magical woman. Yeah.
I'm telling you, when they say when you come to Kenya, living becomes
Yes.
an issue. And now that you're married to a Kenyan, you just start thinking of relocation, maybe have a home here.
Possibility, it's a possibility.
Spend half
I
of
can
the year
spend,
in Africa.
that's a strong possibility. Yes, yes.
Wow, wow. You know, we can go on and on. You know, what I know is those who are watching here today, may your belief in love be rekindled. Mine has. I'd already dismissed the idea of ever getting married.
Oh, you will get married.
I'll tell you how old I am.
You are young and beautiful. You will get.
You say you have dismissed that.
Oh God.
I'd say, you know what, I'll just live this life and just pursue purpose, do the interviews and travel the world and be happy. Yeah.
Will you be really? If you would you? Is that what you want? Hold
No,
on.
from the onset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want a partner?
Yes.
If you desire one,
Yes.
and you really desire one, ask God to give you a partner and seek and do the right things. God will give you a partner.
I think that will be our parting shot today.
Okay.
Yeah. That.
But you have to take action. That's
Yes.
another thing, because you
Yes.
can't just pray.
Yeah.
You also have to take action.
Yeah, you have to take action. And as we conclude, what I've really picked up here is about a mindset shift. That for you to thrive or pursue anything in life, your mind has to change.
Yes.
You know, I pick very clearly the way you were saying, I don't want this person to be like this, I don't want. And your coach was able to tell you, why not talk about the qualities that you would like? And I think in life, that is very key. Now tell me, Lucy, 3 things that you love about your silver fox, yes.
The one thing, the silver fox. This silver fox. That's one thing I love.
Yeah.
That was my first. When I saw him online,
Yes.
the first thing I saw is like that gray silver fox.
Wow.
That's the first thing. But actually, more importantly, that's just the outside.
Yes.
One thing I love about Nebraska is his ability to allow me to be me.
Oh.
I have never been concerned about being pretentious. You know how
Yes.
you have to like pretend. I am just so me in my worst, in my best, in my all. It takes it all. I'm not concerned about that. So that's the second thing.
Yeah.
I can be me with Nebraska. And this is not a cliche.
Yes.
It's real. He allows me to be that. And he takes it in.
Because we know you.
Because you know me. You know me. I can be.
Yes.
I can be me.
Okay. And the third-
Authentically me.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes I can be mdomowazi. In Nebraska, mdomowazi means my mouth can just run.
You're like,
Sometimes.
did you just say that?
Yes.
In public?
In public. In public. And that's me. And
the
sometimes
third
I can,
one?
yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
It's okay, go ahead.
That's the second thing.
Yeah.
I think the other thing I like about Nebraska is his love for people. Culturally, we have been, we because of the different cultures, he's been brought up in the culture which adopted, it's a different culture, Western culture, where it's everyone for himself and God for us, or kind of culture. And our community-based culture is very different. And I remember when we met, I would ask him, will you, I have a lot of family and friends, and, I'm a friend people, I'm a people person. Will you really be able to handle so many people coming to visit, so many friends that I have? And I was very skeptical about that.
Yeah.
But Nebraska has been able to handle my friends
Yes.
without a complaint.
Yes.
It doesn't have a problem with how much food I cook and share.
Yeah.
So those are the things. That's very important to me, because I'd be very depressed
Yes.
if that was a problem. So yeah. I have very many more.
I
Those
can
are just
imagine.
3.
Yeah, just 3.
But that I can tell you, those are just 3.
And wow, and
That's
Nebraska,
an easy question for me.
What are 3 things that you don't like?
I would paraphrase it, not so much of dislike.
Yeah.
I wish,
They could change.
or I wish challenges.
Okay. Yeah, let's call it. You're a positive.
One,
man.
in coming to Kenya, I wish Lucy she's so fluent in Swahili and other Kenyan languages. I wish she would have pointed that out to me and helped me with that. That's one of my promises when I come back to Kenya, that I'm definitely going to be more fluent in Swahili.
Like now, I'm just telling you, many people have spoken and you don't understand.
I do. Well, one of the things that we do is that, as an American, that's typically a negative thing too. When people, and here in Kenya or in the U.S.,
Yes.
that when people start speaking their
Different.
foreign tongue or
Yes.
foreign language, that you get insecure and feel they're talking about you.
True.
I'm kind of a people person. I'm kind of positive.
Yeah.
I kind of read their body language. So I never really take it as an insult, but I definitely would enjoy a better trip. I know the second time,
And
knowing
the
some
second
Swahili.
one?
The second one, wow, you really impressed me. The second one, I would think that
You're in trouble.
Can I give him some leakage?
Lucy has a lot of friends.
Yes.
And she is real good in sharing them with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wish I could be. I don't know. Sometimes you feel as an American not knowing Swahili, like the third wheel in a situation, because of back to the language that. And she's pretty good sometimes of explaining what's going on.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just have to take a neutral standpoint. Okay, they're not talking about me, but I don't know what they're talking about. So I wish that sometimes she would explain that process of what's going on, because I'm typically in the dark. But I don't look at it negative.
Yeah.
I'm not as informed and corporate, and being a people person, I can't, get into that.
Would we ask you for this hard one?
The third one, she's been a real good host while I've been here in Kenya, to find out what I wanted to experience and to help me to do I'm really searching for that third one, and I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it relatively recent,
Perfect.
Kenya related.
No, it's
No,
in
even
general.
in general.
general.
Yeah.
In general.
Does she leave the seats up or down?
No, that's not an issue. Cooking is an issue. I love. I was exposed to Kenyan food before I came here from her.
That was a tough question.
I don't. You know what? I tell you this. After you've been married a few years, there are things that you have to learn to cope with.
Yes.
And I don't want to call those coping mechanisms negative. I am trying to really creatively search and go something that I could improve upon, because let's face it, as coaches, there's always something you can improve upon, individually and collectively.
Yeah.
I'm just hard pressed to really go, I guess because of her Meru culture, her experience to anger and emotion,
I was wondering when you bring that up.
requires patience. And as a man, sometimes you have to just, a good jaw is a win.
I was wondering when you bring that up.
So that would be a challenge to that I've learned to.
I think.
I hope I answered your question.
No, you answered.
Giving you some.
You've had it from him. What is your parting shot? What are you telling our viewers?
For me, I think everybody, for me to tell, just life is worth living. I think freedom lies in being bold. Don't stop. When something doesn't work in life, don't stop at that. Try something else. It's not the end. If something is going wrong, don't stop at that. Try something else. Don't stop at the thing that went wrong. Don't dwell on the past. Move on. Try something new. Life is worth living. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. And up to the point where it ends and God decides it's ended, it's worth living it. Enjoy it to the best. And that's all I can say.
I would address those that are single. Those that are single, I will say that the challenges of finding a good partner are challenging with the nuances of the day's society and socially. But I think, couples or coaches like ourselves or someone go to get help to help you navigate that. For those that are in relationships that are facing challenges, I think it would be much worth your investment to find someone to help you versus to end it negatively and dissolving the marriage. And I like to think that, we can be ambassadors of helping save as many as we can for relationship success.
Wow.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us. For me, viewers, I told you we'll bring you people from all walks of life. And today, I feel the love, I feel the positivity. And just to add on to what Lucy has said, life is worth living. And many people are struggling because of challenges they faced in the past. Today, we've heard of despite divorce, they are flourishing in a wonderful marriage. I had a substance use disorder. Today I'm free. So we really are grateful that positive things can come out, but your mind needs to shift. And obviously, we do thank God for the grace that He continues to give us. So until next time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share, and let us keep having these conversations for change, for transformation, and we love you. Till next time.
Bye.